This is how Haicma deals with the haters. Wait, that's how you say it?
Haicma, does it look good to you?
Anything you say, Nanami. Speaking of haters, did you know that in the Chinese beta for Haicma, the generic final coding gave her a fancier hat? In the end, anti-hat sentiment won and Kuro freed her from the fancy bonnet in the final version of the patch. Sun's out, fun's out. Whether you love or hate the hat, in battle Haicma can pull in and freeze her opponents, leaving them helpless to her scythe attacks. However, Haicma's main attraction is her core passive. After holding down the dodge button, she adopts a stance where she'll automatically evade attacks as long as she has some dodge gauge remaining. Hold the stance long enough for this bar to fill up and she'll unleash a special attack on her opponent. Each automatic evasion will deplete her dodge gauge, so make the most of this by not wasting her dodges before entering her core passive. This may sound like the activation method for the speed attack that comes with upgrading other Uniframes, but Haicma can use it by default, and her ability lets her dodge every 1.5 seconds. Haicma's kit is geared towards survival and kiting, and combined with her core passive, this makes her a solid choice for modes without time limits like Babel Tower. She can even solo Uniframe stages at max risk, if you're up to the challenge. As a scythe user, she can share weapons with Isla Brilliance and Chrome Arclight, so if you just want to have her without rolling for a new weapon, you can save on materials by sharing a scythe around. But before you do, you'll want to know what you're missing. Haicma's 6-star weapon comes with a huge advantage. It increases the rate that her core passive bar fills up. This means less time dodging and waiting, and more frequently unleashing her special attack. A 6-star signature weapon is a pretty big investment for a Uniframe, especially for free-to-play players. If you want weapons, the fact is, it's more beneficial to prioritize 6-star weapons for future Omniframes instead. But spenders who like Haicma and enjoy Babel should consider grabbing her weapon if they can. Like all new Uniframes, Haicma comes with the ability to learn a finishing move and a speed attack, just like Pulau and Roland. But you know who else becomes eligible for that in the very same patch? Kamu Crocata, who is rewarded to new players for free at level 52. Thanks to Kamu's new eligibility, you'll always have an option for the Uniframe upgrade. If you do decide to upgrade Haicma, her speed attack can be performed by holding the dodge button when you see an enemy's all-out attack coming. If she's learned her speed attack and is hit by an all-out attack in the middle of her core passive stance, Haicma will retaliate with icy tornadoes. Meanwhile, her finishing move is one of the coolest in the game. Deplete the enemy's execution bar and use a basic attack to make Haicma pin the enemy down and swiftly decapitate them. Haicma fights with the element of ice, joining the chilly ranks of Lucia Plume, Chrome Glory, and Wanshi Hypnos. And Changyu, if anyone remembers him. Unfortunately, Haicma is no replacement for Lucia Plume, so Plume remains the premier and only real attacker for the standardized team for the time being. Uniframes are quite affordable. You're guaranteed a copy of Haicma in only 10 pulls or 2,500 BC. However, there's a reason you may want to save every last black card instead. In the following patch, A New Divide, Karenina's new Dark Tank Frame debuts. Karenina gets a significant power increase at SS3. In this new system, SS3 means reaching double S rank plus 3 nodes, which requires 2 copies of a character plus 30 shards from Phantom Pain Cage. 2 copies of Karenina requires 30,000 BC if you go all the way to pity both times, so you may want to start saving now. That said, you may not be interested in Meta Karenina, or any Karenina for that matter. Keep in mind, Haicma is easy to pick up anytime, granted with a decreased rate after her debut patch. So, should you pull for Haicma Starveil? Well, there are pros and cons. The pros are, Haicma is 100% guaranteed for only 2,500 BC for a limited time. She's a scythe wielder, so you may be able to reuse a weapon you already have for her. If you only have 1 or 2 Uniframes, she can fill out your team for certain game modes. And lastly, her core passive can help you through some game modes, like Babel Tower. However, Haicma's kit feels incomplete without her signature weapon, making her a high investment. Other lower investment Uniframes can use finishing moves and speed attacks, including the free Kamu. And, even at her best, she can't replace the ice attacker Lucia Plume. Lastly, even though she's pretty cheap, don't pull Haicma if doing so will prevent you from affording future S-rank Omniframes. Depending on your plans, that could include 2 copies of Karenina's new frame. Hat or no hat, Haicma doesn't manage to shake up the meta in any meaningful way. She's a bit of a luxury character who you can pick up anytime, so don't feel too bad if you need to skip her. You're going to need a lot of Omniframes to get through the many challenging game modes of PGR, so watch this video to find out why Nanami Starfarer is so important.